done. All right, are we up? Come on, YouTube. I believe in you. Buttons go. Come on. There we go. All right, let me set everything to potato quality. And that goes to potato quality. And this goes down in the corner. This goes away, and this goes away. This goes away. We go here. We go offline there. We close that. Discard that. Minimize. We make sure that's on DND. Great. Okay, we should be going. Just wait for all of those sweet, sweet subs to pour on in. Make that go away. This button comes over here. And this button goes over here. And this one goes over here. And then the secret shame that I am behind on making slides. I was busy trying to make sure that the renders went, and then I had to stuff my face, and now I'm here. So you'll have to give me just a few minutes to get the buttons all pressed. In the meantime, do be sure to be active in the chat channels. I am reading on all of the platforms, from Twitch all the way over to Discord, both of the chats. We're streaming live on both YouTube and Twitch. And, yeah. Make a copy of that. Please make a copy of that. Rename it. Today is the 27th. Okay. Plots today. Great. Killing those. Then we go to Dropbox. And we get to the plots. So many plots. Man, I am not looking forward to... Is it next week? No, I have 2 weeks. Okay. Well, still not looking forward to it. The Plex split is going to fuck me up for like a good 2 weeks. I thought I was going to be ahead of it, but I think that I'm going to end up having to do some hacking on the thing to actually make it go, which does not make me super happy. Just because the way that everything is set up, I don't think I'm going to be able to, like, I'm going to go and backlog the database to do the split. Like, that's not a problem. But, like, I am reliant on Eve Central updating their API in time, and they've been notorious for taking several days to actually get their shit together. So I might just be shit out of luck for 2 weeks, having to manually propagate data through the fucking system. Because if I were a good dev, I would have had, months ago, a fix that actually uses Crest or ESI to get the data straight from the game. But, you know, life and work. Only give me so much time in the day to deal with that shit, so we are behind. Alright, cash liquidity. That's the next one. Ah, shit. That one's a different color. Right. Okay, and then the sinks and faucets. And then do we care about Plex versus Velocity? I don't think we do. No, it's too fucking late to deal with, to use that data, so that is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. My number one priority is making sure that I can do the split on the new API we just released. The only problem is that, I don't know, I'm over-engineering the fuck out of it. Got the first half of it done a couple of days ago so that I can source all of the required data. I can just build it and include it into the repo. But the second half is actually making sure that I put the data together correctly. And that's making my brain melt just a little bit. Not that I can't, like, do it. It's just that I don't want to write shitty code to do it, which is a really terrible... That's a really fucking awful excuse, to be honest. But, like, I expect more splits in the future, essentially. So, like, if I don't do the work now so that we can do splits and remaps, like, it's going to break the... if I don't do the work right the first time, I can't really expect to be able to put a pull request, like an issue out on the GitHub that says, hey, yo boy, if you go ahead and make sure that this works for this item, I'll give you a Plex for it. Like, yeah. And if I do it, if I do it right, then it shouldn't be hard for me to just do it again. Like, I should be able to just add new type IDs and a couple new profile things into a thing, and it should just go. Like, it should just be an afternoon sipping cider. It shouldn't take much work if I do this right. So we'll see if I'm right about that. I was futzing with it today at lunch, and I think my idea isn't terrible. Basically leveraging Python's magic methods to do all the work for me, so I can make the code that it has to do easy looking. It's like, oh, well, you multiply this by the price, and then you divide by the order count, and the object knows what it's doing. And again, I think it's super smart, but the problem with super smart coding is that it might be too super smart, and then you come around the other side, and that means it's fucking retarded. Feel free to quote me on that. Quote of the day. If you're too super smart, you're fucking retarded. So we'll see. I'm missing an event in the event database, aren't I? Anyway, so that has been my week, I guess. Consum, I don't think so. Okay, that button. And yeah. mean, the nice thing for the work we're doing is that once it's set up, like, you know, things move along pretty nicely. That, like, if that makes any sense. It's just that getting there can be a real bear and a half. So, oops, let's look at the things. Because, I mean, once it's testing, once it's running, once everything is put together the way it's supposed to be, like, I have the luxury of believing in my platform because, like, the tests are already built in. It already checks on every commit. If the thing is still stable, it still builds. Oops. It still builds the coverage reporting. Like, everything that needs to be done is done automatically. It's just that, you know, adding a new feature, like, I've made my life really easy for adding new features. I've made my life really hard for I made my life really hard for adding new features. I've made it really easy for bug fixing. So if there's just one little change that needs to be done, if I just need to, you know, oh, this thing has a off by one error, or this thing is this endpoint broke and you need to update the call, like, everything is very smart. Everything's set up in such a way that those fixes are really easy. But, like, I've sort of sent myself up on that hairy edge of too smart, where, oops. And, yeah, it could be trouble. Tengus, rattlesnakes, VNIs in the toilet. Yeah, let's put VNIs in the list. Oops, there they go here. VNI. Okay. Carryalls are interesting. Did I not do the Twitch stuff right? Because we have way fewer people than usual in Twitch. Where are all my Twitch friends at? Yeah, we've got the right number on YouTube, but we do not have the right number on Twitch. That's weird. Twitch is dying. Rip, rip, rip. Guess we can talk about the Ishtar as well. That's not a bad one. Ishtar. I mean, unless the reporting thing is wrong. It might be wrong. It's weird. Weird, weird, weird. And didn't get the retweets. Is everybody out, like, having a life tonight? Did the weather get too good? Let's go take a look at Moongoo real quick. Don't care, don't care. Probably not going to look at tactical destroyers. They didn't look very interesting when I went through the summary. The spoiler is they've basically recovered back to their pre-Probag Bear levels. Not a whole lot interesting going on in there now. The market recovers surprisingly fast, guys. Like, I know it's sort of nature to expect that it'll take, weeks for a bad idea to wash through, but in core markets, unless somebody is putting a lot of active management into it, the market wants what it wants, and it gets to equilibrium surprisingly fast. Did we talk about nanopumps last week? I thought we talked about nanopumps. We did. Ah. Well, punch me in the face and call me a pretty pony. That is not what I expected to happen. Let's see. Do we care about nanite compound? I don't think we... Do we care about nanite compound? I don't think we care about nanite compound. Conflag. Let's look in here real quick. The Jag is a little interesting, but I don't think it's interesting enough to make it the show. The Friendship. Greasta's Hurricane Fleet issue is kind of interesting, but I don't think it's enough to talk about on the show. Actually, no, that one's not a bad one. We're gonna put that in. I usually wouldn't, but it'll make some interesting talking points. Let's see. Let's take a look. Super compelling. I know. I am just the most interesting Eve player out there. We're going to talk about the Oneros anyway, but we aren't talking about the Onyx. I should go look that up over here. In here, we should have heavy interdictors. Do I want to talk? Let's talk about heavy interdictors. Eris is a little interesting. How are regular interdictors? How is Straunt? I don't even think I looked at the frickin' graph for Straunt. Also, chat, please tell me who is actually fighting in the anime war, because I don't know who's on which side, and I can't read that much Reddit bullshit in one day and not just want to vomit up blood. So, can I get a TLDR from someone in the chat, please? Yeah, I think it is Waffles versus Pravi. But geez, the World War Weeb or the Anime War, like, seriously, could we be any more cringy basement lords? For fuck's sake. Sorry, not sorry. Like, seriously, I was just checking up on Reddit today because there's been a bunch of clarifications on the Plex split release, and like half of the fucking Reddit is just Anime War horseshit. Like, give me a fucking break. Cringe myself to death reading that shit. Come on, don't be that way. Anyway, so looks like we've got the plots all ready to go. We've hit the magical 50 number, which is great. Looks like, seriously, Twitch, you say I only have 4 people in there? You can't be right. Oh, 5 now. 5 Twitch viewers and 21 YouTube. We usually have twice that. Well, maybe not exactly twice, but close. Like, where is everybody? Has my retirement been blown up and now nobody wants to tune in because I'm retired, and what do I know about anything? Maybe that's it. So we got about 10 minutes before the show starts. I want to welcome everybody who is here. Thank you for tuning in. And if you are tuning in on Twitch, I do appreciate the rehosting. That's always appreciated. If this is your first time tuning in, I don't know how many. I see a couple of new names in there, but that might just be YouTube. The words. So the show is a market show for EVE Online. We do the news, and going into the weekend, trying to figure out like what's worth trading, what's worth buying, what's worth watching. Try to give you guys the information on how to trade as opposed to exact details on what to trade. Because if I give you what to trade, well, a lot of money is going to show up on things that's just going to destroy the market. Like I don't need to pump and dump stuff, but I can give you guys strategies and such on how to do the things. The show runs about 45 minutes. I don't tend to talk to the chat during that 45 minutes. Try to get this done in one big fat long take for the benefit of our editor Christopher Mellon. And but if you have questions, I do read them I do read the chats, and we do about a 30-minute Q&A after the show is done. So, and we can talk about whatever. And if you guys don't tell me what to talk about, I'm going to chat your ear off about EVE stuff, about Python stuff. The show, all the plots are generated using R. It's the same tool that Quant uses to make his graphs. We host all of the data using Python pipelines, and you can check out the sources for everything down in the doobly-doo below. If you enjoy the show and you want to get in touch with me, the very best place to do so is on our Discord. Links to join, again, down in the doobly-doo. I do read every bit of mail, comment, whatever that comes through, but the best way to get one-on-one time with me is through the Discord. I did get an email from some person trying to do some student stuff. Sorry, you came in at a weird time, and I need to respond to you. So, yeah, I owe somebody an email. But like the very last place I look is Facebook. So don't call me on Facebook. I just had an old fleet mate poke me on the on there, and it's great to talk to him, but I'm like, oh, I'm leaving. Days. Again, links are down in the doobly-doo. There should be a Discord link down in the channel info. Generate 60 days. Price. I didn't know gaming YouTube eats that. That sucks. I'm sorry. Better tell your sock. Yeah, I don't press the gaming button on my stream. I watch it from vanilla YouTube. So, let's see. Words. I am a little heartbroken that I was hoping to be down in Portland next month, but work didn't approve my shit fast enough, and I didn't get tickets to go to fucking PyCon, and I'm kind of crushed. Kind of a lot crushed. I was really hoping to go. We'll see. I still want to do Python conferences, but like, I'm just not subscribed to the right stuff, apparently, because I don't hear about this shit until it's already happening. But yeah. So, so we're just about there. We'll start the show at the top of the hour. And async API from Sanzio. Ooh, that sounds cute. Okay. Words. I know. I am just the best the most exciting streamer tonight. Having a really hard time this week keeping my brain engaged. It has been fucking hard, man. Fucking hard. Had a surprise visit from the in-laws and chaos. Fucking chaos. Anyway. So I gave you guys the rundown. I told you how you could get in touch with me. Oh, and the last thing, if this is your first episode, I am terribly sorry to tell you that the show is ending on episode 100. So that means we've got 6 weeks worth of shows left. I don't intend to take any breaks between here and there. I'm hoping to get at least one more good EU stream together for you guys. But yeah, episode 100 is the last one for us. We'll still be keeping all the tools up for you. I still want to do some blogging, and I encourage people not to get unsubscribed, because I do intend to come back. just not for Eve. If you enjoy the data science, the teaching, the markety, economic stuff, the code stuff, then I think you'll enjoy when we rebrand. But I've got a bunch of work to do between here and there. So I'm sorry to leave you guys, but it's time to do bigger and better things. Like this show is a ton of work, and I mean we're like halfway to. I'm like halfway to making my own consultancy at this point. So don't despair. I will be back. It'll just be different. And so if you're... Yeah, and the Discord will stay open. The Discord's not going anywhere. We're still going to keep the Eve channel there. I still reserve the right to do special reporting if the next Great War comes out, because there's nothing stopping me from turning the tools back on. But like the week-to-week show, I just can't keep it up. So I'll be around in the meta, but like I'm retiring. The show has to end. But with that terribly sad news, on that downer note, let's go ahead and start getting this show together. So give me just a minute to press some buttons, and we will make it happen. So that's that button, and then we turn that off so you guys don't hear the hum. All right, we've got the thing. We are broadcasting live through the power of the internet, which means I press this button and we get the show going. Oops, 1 second. Good evening, and welcome to the latest episode of the Eve Prosper Market Show. I'm your host, Lockefox, and we're here with all of the market news you need going into the weekend, now with the anime war starting. So, without further ado, let's get this show rolling right out of the gate and start talking about some quick show news at the start. Let me go ahead and get started where we always do. If you want to follow the show, all you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. Do check out the blog. I have released a couple of important blogs in the last couple of weeks. First, that if you missed it, we are producing a prediction database so that you guys can go call it and figure out what the prices of things will be in the future. And that is now hosted at services both at Eve Mogul and at Atom4 eve.eu. There should be links in the blog. Second, if you guys haven't read it, we are shooting for episode 100 to be our last show here on the air. It has been a wonderful journey. I have enjoyed very much being such an important part of the Eve metaspace, but it is time to move on to things bigger and better. Don't hit that unsubscribe button too fast, though, because I do expect this to be back with a different coat of paint come after the summer. So if you enjoy the graphs, if you enjoy the data science, if you enjoy the teaching rather than just saying things, if you enjoy the Python stuff, then you should stick around because I think you'll be interested. Also, I reserve the right to come back for giant Eve-changing news like the next big giant war. So don't despair too much. last on the contact list, do drop by our Discord. Links to join are down in the doobly-doo below. That will be staying open for all. It will still have its Eve channels. It's the very best place to get in touch with me these days is through Discord. I do love talking with you guys, and you guys should come join us there. We talk tech, we talk markets, and so yes, do join us. Next piece of news, I want to thank our editor, Christopher Mellon. If you guys haven't seen, he has been doing Minor Metrics several times a week. It's a short little blurb of a show looking at the current market in the mineral things. He just added ice analysis, and he has been knocking it out of the park. So I encourage you to go look at Minor Metrics. Again, links will be down in the doobly-doo below. Last but certainly not least, if you enjoy the show, if you get value out of what we do here, if you have enjoyed the run so far, I encourage you to join our Patreon at patreon.com/EveProsper. Though the Patreon will be closing at the end of June, every dollar added into the pot right now helps towards keeping the services running in perpetuity. We have most of our hosting solutions figured out, but in case anything falls through, we want to be able to have a plan if we need to deploy somewhere, and keep providing the content for you guys and get you things like the raw database dumps and still share all that stuff with you. But you know, that space doesn't come free, so our patrons will make the Prosper Twilight Fund particularly useful, just so that everybody can still get the data that we generated. If you can't support us monetarily, I completely understand. It is just a video game show after all. Do get subscribed. I do like seeing numbers go up and to the right. We did finally cross the 1,000 Twitter subscribers mark, which I thought we should have done like a year ago, but I was glad to see that number tick over. Like I said, though our Eve focus might be stopping, our economic and data science one is not. So if you are interested in learning about the general markets, if you're looking at how do I go from being a mortal hacker to into the world of high finance, like that is one of the big goals we're trying to go tackle. So we will be back. And you should be subscribed so you don't miss any of it. And you can catch all of our pilot shows and see how cringy they are. So, with that, let's cover let's go straight into Plex, and we'll cover some news on the way. So give me 2 seconds because I should have had this up. I am a bad host. News. I gotta look up the RM lockout date. Okay, so first we start where we always do with Plex, the biggest news on Plex that you guys need to know now that all of you YouTube scrubbers have missed all the front end of the show, is that Plex is changing on May 9th. On May 9th. So that is just over, let's say, a week and a half from right now. We're splitting it into stacks of 500, and RM is being refunded into the new Miniplex. If you have anything over 1,000, it will be cashed out on the 9th. And then I believe there is a 3-month waiting period for the sub 1,000 Plex conversion. And then the other big piece to note in this is that RM content that store is closing on the 2nd, which I believe is this upcoming Tuesday. So if you are under the 1,000 mark and you were looking to, put a buck in the jar to try and get ticked over, you have only a couple of days left before you can do that. And then last big piece of economic news, just for all of you wallet warriors, is that there are improvements coming to the total net worth indicator. Those should be out now. think those might be out now. The 119.3 doesn't sound right. Anyway, those should be out. There was some weirdness about counting injected skins, weirdly, so a lot of those numbers might be going down, but they're going to be a fairer representation of your actual net worth. So good news there. I am not displaying Plex, so GG. There we go. I know how to do this show. I'm good at this. If you scrubbed here from YouTube because you don't listen to the start of the show, you missed all the news about Plex because I didn't press the button correctly. Anyway, so we'll get straight into Plex now that we've covered all the news that you need to know. Plex is trending up very slightly, heading towards 1.25 billion. And volumes are really thin. Like, the market is very much sitting on its hands, waiting for the thing to tick over. So if we look at the 1 year view, again, prices are climbing rather steeply over to that 125 mark. We're not quite in an unstable spot yet, and like this is to be expected. Like, the performance here isn't out of the ordinary. It's a little bit high for the season, but given the way things are rolling, I'm not too upset about it. Zooming in on the Plex prices, though, we start to see where we've had a median of 500 units on sale. That has been turning around very quickly, and with this spike in supply, we should expect a track back down to 125. I don't think we'll go all the way down to 120 until the Plex split, and if you're looking for what I think the actual price post split will be, is that I expect to lose 15%. Going any lower than that is a little unstable. And we might end up with a double dip where there's a bunch of action on the Tuesday where it releases, and then a little bit of recovery and a double dip into the weekend. We've seen this in the past where you bump up against a floor, and then the rest of the cooler heads prevail through the week, and then after all of the news outlets have written about how Plex is crashing and oh my god, it's the end of the world, it does a double dip as the weekend warriors come back in with now that they know what's going on rather than just sitting on it. So numbers means that I'm expecting probably 990 parity price. It'll probably hit 1.1 though, is where I actually expect it to go. I'm hoping for 990. Like the way things are going, and some of the whispers from CCP have me thinking that there's a lot more ARM out there than most people think, and the ability to do a big cash grab there for a bunch of people who are not traditional Plex investors. Means that there's a big chunk of liquid cash. It's birthday money, and they just blow it all on the first hooker they see and whatever. But that's going to be pushed back by speculators who are in places like me, where we're looking for long-term wealth storage, and for instance, I will be buying on split day personally, because I'm looking to go move some liquid to solid cash, and I have expectations that come the fall, maybe not this fall, but in the 6 months, 9 months, 12-month time frame, a parity price putting us on the target for 2 billion is not unreasonable given the way the changes could roll out. I think it'd be hard to get there looking at the economic statistics that we're looking at right now. But like as the game changes, as cash flows change, it is possible that post summer we end up at a 1.5 billion ISK per month kind of price. and then into next summer, we might be able to ride all the way to 2. But like, I don't know enough about the development roadmap to really say that. I just think that it's easier to boil a frog after the split. That it's easy to say, oh, what's the difference between 2 million and 4 million on a miniplex, when that's a 50% change, and or 100% depending which way you're going, and that is a that's a pretty big change for the general public, but it can be done in such small increments, and so many more people can be trading that you have a lot more renegades doing stupid shit to the prices. So we'll see where it goes. Oh, and a disclaimer here is that for the 2 weeks after the split, my data might get kind of fucky, thanks to our dependency on Eve Central to update their stuff and update their SDE. We might end up with holes in our data, so just please bear with us. So next week should be fine. We're going to go backfill everything after the change, which should be easy to do, but at least the week after it launches, we're in danger of breaking our tools. Next, the ARM conversion, which I just need to delete this graph. It's fucking useless. The next one is skill trading. As the price of Plex keeps tracking up, the price of skills has not kept pace. I keep continuing to expect prices on injectors to rise, because I don't expect zombie farmers to just keep eating the price adjustments. Though they are still getting free money, this is free money. They as the price goes up here, like, we should at least be seeing it go up there. But margins have been staying steady as a rock. And if we zoom in, we see that, supplies have got a little thin. It's telling me that perhaps some zombie farmers are keeping the stock chilled at the moment. This should be rising the price, like 720 million is where I'd really expect it to be. There should have, with this drop under the 1K mark, I was really expecting this to pop up over the 700 million mark. But we're not seeing that yet. So it's a risky gamble. I don't really love it as a put your money in here and make stacks of Mad Isk. But there is I think there's opportunity here to sort of hedge a bet against Plex, because even if Plex crashes, I think injectors will move a lot slower. So there is opportunity here. I'm not going to just spoil it and say, buy this or sell this, but if I were more actively engaged in Plex speculation, this would be my hedge going into the weekend. I'd be buying this stuff up like now, look to jump out right at the top when the split happens, let this ride down, because it should ride down slower than the actual Plex dump, and then buy out, trade my injectors for mini Plex, and count my money all the way to the bank would be one of the plays I would try. But please do your research. Not responsible if you lose all your fake money. Next, moving on to market indexes and the econ news. Looking across the market, we continue to see general activity staying steady. Not a lot to see there. Even with the lower volumes, the actual value of the RMT market has stayed pretty steady. Even with a dip, that latest dip in the skill trading market. The mineral markets continue to sag, which is a little bit interesting after looking at the numbers. So the mining stats were pulled from this month's monthly economic report because Quant finally got to the bottom as to why the numbers weren't right. We expect the April report to actually have the numbers be correct, so I'm looking forward to having that back, but the data was just stripped out instead, because I think he probably figured it out, like, once the thing was already in the pipeline, and was like, whatever, you'll have it next month, I'm sorry. Looking at the kill reports, we're a little thin on the counts, not by much, like 1 or 2% under where we'd expect to be for counts. Value has been tracking up, but is losing a little bit of steam. But if you are at all active on the Eve Reddit, and I am so sorry if you are, the anime war is starting, or World War Weeb, or the waifu war, or I don't fucking know. So it's between, and let me make sure I give credit where credit is due, because I could not get through it on the thing. So it was Rodin and the Angry Red Gummy Bear, confirming that it is Waffles versus the Pravi block, going to war. And oh my god, the trolling and baiting on and propaganda is just the worst. I am so ashamed to be an Eve player right now, reading the reading the Reddit. Like, I just wanted to go check out a thing about if people were talking about the Plex split, and I get in there and it's like 8 of the top 10 are about fucking anime, and I'm just like, oh my god, we are the worst. So I'm hoping that they go to big war, but signals are not showing. Like, signals are showing that this is a meme war more than a ground war at the moment. So if you guys would stop talking about killing each other and actually go kill each other, that would be really great. Thanks, by the way. We haven't seen the killing start, and when we get to the fuel report, it doesn't look like anybody's trying to take territory either. So, like, this is all just bluster and salt, and like, I don't really want to trade on salt. I want to trade on actually doing things. So how about you guys stop posting up cute posters about your favorite waifus and actually kill each other? Hot takes from Eve Prosper. Just kill each other, please. Next, moving on to money supply. The interesting thing this month is a big uptick in cash supplies. This is going to be interesting when we look at the fountains and sinks graph. This is I want to say there was very little active ISK delta this month, which means there was not a whole lot of banned ISK coming out of the system, which was what killed a lot of the pre-February numbers. As we came into February, we were on a big active ISK delta run. I would expect, actually, after reading Noisy Gamer's blog and Twitter... Hold on one sec. I gotta get a loogie out. After reading Noisy Gamer's log, it seems there was a big round of ban waves. The total cash destroyed or confiscated wasn't that much. Like, we're talking maybe 200 billion. At least from the counts I saw from him. But I do expect when we see reports of bans that they go underreported. So we might be seeing a couple of trillion come out of the system. So that means that we might be on target to get back to the one quadrillion number, but you're probably more likely that we'll stay steady or flat. If this World War Weeb thing takes off, I expect a bigger chunk coming out of liquidity for that. But again, it's all bluster at this point, so it's really hard. And I think that by the time they actually go to kill each other, it will be May 1st, and we won't get to see it in the economic stats. So I guess pro strats for nullsec warfare is fight at the start of the month so that there's no good intel and the fighting's over by the time the economic report comes out. That's the economic metagame there. And again, looking at the ActiveISK Delta graphs, another record cash flow month compared with a near record ActiveISK Delta. And flat sinks means that we are in a high liquidity market, which is part of what's pushing up the price of Plex. Again, sorry, I can push buttons. The ISK velocity here is trending downwards, and that is not filling me with a ton of hope. I think that we'll see under the 0.8 mark, maybe down to 0.75 come the April numbers, which thankfully we don't have to wait very long for. But like, we're seeing just a stupid amount of cash getting printed and it not going anywhere, which is huge upward pressure on Plex. It's just bad news for that kind of stuff. So I think that if it weren't for the split happening in a little over a week, we'd be at 1.3 billion ISK Plex. But thanks to the split, I think a lot of people are sitting out of the market right now and causing an artificial lull. And then once the split happens, I expect, again, that birthday money phenomenon where everybody burns off the money. And yeah, it should be at least somewhat interesting. Moving on to minerals, starting in titanium, not a lot to say. Volumes are still a little thin. Prices are staying steady, just over 4.5. Zooming in, supplies are starting to sag, so we could be on a price target for 5.0. It's a bit hard to hit from where we're standing right now. I think we'd have to lose another 2 to 5 billion units out of the market to get us up to the magical 5 number. And unfortunately, I think the door has closed for speculators. So I don't think there's a lot of action to do here. But if you're a producer, you might want to lock in an extra week worth of stuff ahead of a 5.0 price. Pyrite, again, similar story, things staying steady. Looks like trends might be pulling downwards and volumes are, again, kind of thin. We've seen a big stack of the market leave for the moment, so we might actually be staying in this 5.5 regime for a while. I think things will stay relatively steady, but again, weak upward pressure is possible. Next, moving on to Mexilon. So if you have been watching us on adamforeve.eu, you'll know that the Mexilon target, according to the API, is 100. And from where I'm sitting, I get it. I get why it thinks that. I have a really hard time believing it, but like getting down in the weeds here, prices are trending down. Like it's a good chance to buy in if you believe the hype. I don't know if I fully believe. Like we might be breaking the breaking out of the predictor now. Thankfully, Adam for Eve is doing back propagation for us and validating the performance. So like I said when we launched the thing, the 2-week outlook looks really good. Looks like we're probably going to hit the 4-week targets, but I have a really hard time believing we're going to hit the 6-week. The predictor keeps saying that by May 10th we're going to be at 100, and like if you want to go put your faith fully in the robot, like you would not be completely daft to do so. Like now is a great time to get on this hype train just under the 75 mark. But like I think we'd have to have a late burn Jita to actually hit it. So I don't know if I believe my robot. Next, Isogen, who I pick on every week, is down at 52, trending down towards 50. Again, similar low volume. The actual order counts are high, though, pointing towards a continued downward trend down to 50. Again, if you're holding Isogen, I'd get out of it. I don't think there's a good chance to get on until we're sub 50 again. Oh, but the good news is it looks like the total supplies are tapering off, so wherever we land should be reasonably steady. And if you are playing this margin here between buys and sells, especially if you're buying like a 48 or a 47 buy order, and you're aiming for, 52 or 55 kind of sell order, I think there might be some action here over the summer. But like this is going to take a lot of active management. I just don't really believe in it. So, if you're dedicated, I think there's money here. I just don't think it's worth the effort, to be completely honest. Next, Noxium, which touched 420 last week every day, and has backed off that peak back down to 400. Zooming in on it, I was actually expecting to trend to 450, but supplies are tracking up pretty steadily and are on target to hit 200 million units, which means we'll probably be back down in a 350 regime. If you are needing to stock up on Noxium, I would put some opportunistic buy orders in the 375 to 350 range and see if you can catch some of those falling orders, because I think this will probably bounce. I think there's just maybe an oversupply, a liquidation going on ahead of the anime war. And if you can catch some of the lower stuff, I think we'll be back at 400 as a steady state, is kind of my expectation here, but it's a weird spot to be predicting in. Next, Zydrine, who I was picking on last week that we were at 1,000 and the party was over, peaked up to 1050 and has been bouncing around. Prices are getting towards unstable at 1050, so, and again, volumes are a little bit higher than expected. Supplies are weak, though, so keeping at that 105 K mark is kind of expected. Once the fighting dies down in a week or two, I kind of expect this to come back. As long as people can keep making money elsewhere and they're not PvPing, I expect actual Zydrine supplies to be closer to the 200 million units mark than the 100 million units. So that's at least what I'm expecting here. Prices are high at the moment and could spike up a little bit, but there's not really enough room for speculation. Next, Megasite, which has been weak, is trending down come this week, but it has a lot of action going on in the market. So big buyout and weak supply has us poised for perhaps hitting 1.4. It's a kind of a thin margin. If you can probably get there playing the 120 mark to try and hit 1.4. I think that is ambitious, possible, but unlikely. It's not the worst investment I've told you guys to make. So like, if this trend continues, if the fighting actually turns into real fighting, we might see the prices turn up to 1.4, but I don't expect to go much higher than 1.4. And one more second. Sorry about that. I figure you guys would not want to hear my noises. So, we saw Morphite spike last week to 10K, but it's backed off to 9.5. Supplies, again, are a little bit thin. This looked like supplies are coming back a little bit strong. Looks like kind of a sellout going on. And the average prices is driven mostly by selling to buy orders here. So again, this looks like a big cash out operation going on here. But buying out some of these low buy orders is, again, not a terrible plan. And with the World War coming up, might be some decent money to be made if you can buy at sub 9K and sell and have a sell target at the maybe 11 or 12K mark is kind of what I'd expect to do. It's a little bit risky. You'll probably won't lose money, but I don't know how much money you'll end up actually making. It does mean that this needs to turn around. So I'd be keeping a really close eye on the actual volumes there. And if we get back under the 6 million units mark, just go bonanza there. Next, looking at fuel. Not a lot to say this week in the fuel markets. Again, 1 second. Sorry about that. Not a lot to say in fuel, except that nitrogen is still staying higher than I really expect it to be. And helium and hydrogen staying lower than I expect them to be. Hold on, jeez of Pete's. This is embarrassing. Okay. Like I was saying, prices are staying about where I expect them. I think nitrogen is overvalued. I think helium and hydrogen is undervalued. For you guys who are running reaction towers, I did say that you shouldn't be getting in the game because I thought things were going to change at the end of May. Turns out I was totally wrong about the actual launch date for moon mining. It's still a decent plan to be moon mining if you can set it up well, if the math works out for you. But looking across the market, I think there are more producers than there are buyers at the moment, and it's kind of a weird, weak market. So unless you're really leveraging the fuel bonus from SOV and have some money moon in the chain that helps offset costs, I don't think this is a great winner for long time money making. But like, there's plenty of people where those two things apply. So it's not as big a loser as I was expecting it to be. So TLDR, moon mining's fine, but make sure that it's actually worth doing before jumping in both feet. Next, fuel blocks, again looking healthy. The spike in the nitrogen fuel blocks is higher than I originally expected. Seeing as we've seen not that much correction, we see a big price jump here, adding a ton of extra margin for nitrogen blocks. I expect that to be over by the weekend. One of these lines will fix that margin because it's just too easy to build these things for that margin to stay. Otherwise, not a lot going on down here. So strontium is, again, our canary for big warfare. And for all the bluster and herf-derf going on about Pravi versus Waffles, I'm just not seeing the strontium buy-ins because we expect strontium to be used with capital warfare. We expect strontium to be used in SOV warfare, and we're just not seeing the buy-ins of these guys really being serious about taking each other's territory. Now, we did see in World War B that there was like a month of good meme war before the actual real war started. So That might be what's going on here, that we're just provoking each other into making a stupid mistake, and we'll dance around each other for a couple of whelp fleets, but like, I don't know if anybody's serious about taking Sov from Pravi because, well, Pravi's an institution at this point. Who really wants to own Sov in Providence? Do we expect them to Providence, the Pravi block, to expand out of Providence and take extra territory? I don't honestly know, but what I'm seeing here is that they're just going to skirmish. They don't actually give a shit about taking each other's space. So I'm not expecting great things out of the current World War Weeb thing going on. Next, heavy water. Supplies are pretty thin, and I expected more price action here. Because of it, I expected, as we got down to the 100 million mark, that we should be up over 300, heading to 350. But this tells me that even with supplies short, there just isn't a lot of demand. And again, this should be another indicator for you war watchers, because if you're gonna do fleet boosting, you need heavy water for the fleet modifiers and for your space bards, and you just aren't seeing the buy-ins. Now, there could be a lot of this stuff sitting on shelves. A lot of it could have been washed out of the Rourke change, and we're just not seeing it come back to the real market. But like, I expect when Goonswarm goes to war that they're so pre-stocked and they've got their war chests that we don't see a lot of market action from the Imperium whenever they go to war. But the guys they fight aren't nearly as well behaved, and one side in the conflict should at least be buying in shit, and I'm just not seeing it. So if you guys would post less memes and do more pew pew, that would be great. So pretty please, with a cherry on top, just kill each other already. Next, moving on to outliers. Let's start where we usually do with advanced materials. Not a lot to say here. This was why I am kind of down on moon mining this week. By and large, flat across the market. Even when you zoom in on moon mining, on the actual moon components, like, nothing is going on. And again, the territory these guys are fighting over for the new war isn't really money moon territory. So, like, again, there's just not a lot of economic stuff going on about this. And as much as I've been beating the drums wanting to see more warfare because, you know, ships get destroyed, that powers the market, I'm just not seeing it. And it's making me sad that for all of this bluster, we're just not seeing anything from it. Zooming in on P4s, again, very flat, even trending downwards, not a lot going on here. If you want to bet on the war, this is not a bad place to do it. If you expect people to be destroying citadels, this could turn around in the meantime. So things like sterile conduits, self-harmonizing power cores, and integrity response drones are all in really good speculative places, in my opinion. Especially if you think that some citadels will get destroyed and need to be replaced. Especially if you're thinking that industrial operations might get interrupted. These are not bad places to put speculative bets in. I just don't think you'll make more than, you know, your 12% kind of margin on that speculation. Next, moving into ships. Vexor Navy issue is trending downwards. We've been kind of steady at the 70 million mark, but supplies are getting fat, and I think demand is staying flat. So I think we'll be under the 70 million mark, towards 65. I don't know if we'll make it all the way down to 65. It's hard to know just how deep this buy wall goes. But if you needed to buy Vexor Navy issues, now is a great chance to stock up. I don't know when the prices are going to go back up again. Really depends on, again, how much warfare there is. But supplies are hot and prices are low. Next is Macarials. Looks like some groups have been getting whelped. And really, is my stuff that broken? I gotta go fix that. Anyway, looks like there have been some whelps and the supplies haven't been coming back. So if you're holding Macarials, now's not a bad chance to jump in at the 310, 300 mark in the buy orders, aiming for a 360 plus, maybe a 380 price. We'll see if this trend holds over the weekend. We've seen some shortages and they tend to be short-lived. So I don't have a ton of stuff going on there. But like Macarials are a popular meta right now, and it makes me really nervous that we're under 100 units on the market. That one good fleet whelp would really make a bad day for the price of Macarials if you guys were betting people. Next, Ishtars are looking to do a little bit of a spike. I'd play maybe a buy order in the 185 million mark. Aiming for 195, maybe 200. This is a decent speculation to hit 200, but we'll see in the next 48 hours if that actually pans out. It's kind of a coin flip from where it is, but buying in 180 and getting out at 195 isn't terrible margin for a less than 5-day bet. Next, I didn't put bombers in the... I put bombers in the next section. That's where I put them. I hope I put them there. Next interesting group is the heavy interdictors. The broadsword and the onyx are selling like hotcakes. So here is the counterpoint to my anime nerds can't even be bothered to kill each other. There's been a big buyout in broadswords and onyxes, and looking at the rest of the interdictors, Eris's and heretics, like all of them are trending up. So though the high grade operation of true battle station Sov War may not be going on, there is some inkling of fight going on. There is some preparations in the tools markets, but just not as much as I was expecting. For as much, again, the fact that the Eve Reddit, you'd think that there are thousands of nerds dying in the streets with their body pillows, but the stats just aren't backing that up right yet. So we'll see this weekend. Maybe they'll have hyped each other up enough to actually maybe talk to each other. We'll see. Next, interesting one this week. If you are a technical analyst kind of person, the Hurricane Fleet issue is very interesting. So I don't tend to talk about these very much on the show, but there are a whole bunch of strategies around graph reading, and people like Rodin on Event TV are sort of leading the charge in bringing more TA to Eve. But like, if you wanted to read a graph and this came across your desk, this would be a buy. And again, I wish I could do a pen. I don't think I can do pens. Can I do pens? I can't. Full screen. Okay, so bottom graph is what's called a moving average convergence divergence graph, or MACD. And when these lines cross, it's either a buy or a sell signal. And given the way this is going, we are right now sitting at this second on a buy signal. And we've seen some pretty reliable ups and downs where some opportunistic buys could probably make, some decent money here in the swings. And volumes are so high that we might be able to see the volatility really ebb and flow between the weekends. And so, like, if you're being optimistic, there's a buy signal here on March 13th at the 100 million mark, and there's a sell signal here at the top at 200 million sorry, 180 to 200 million, which is 15%. If my mental math is right, it's either 10 or 15. And then the prices came down. There's a buy signal again at 180, and another sell signal right above, right before this big drop off. So again, you're kind of playing with fire here, but like not a bad roller coaster to ride if you're keeping on top of it. The technical indicators are strong, and if you're really interested in learning more, you should join the Discord. And I'll send you a thing about how to do these on your own machine, on your own time. And you too can be a chartist wizard. So next, let's move into prediction review, where we figure out if I know what the hell I'm talking about. Last week, I brought up the large auxiliary nano pump 2s. The prices had crashed, and I thought that things would stay crashed, but they turned around in a big way. Oh my God. Looks like there was just a big sell-off, and then once those orders were cleared, the prices returned. I wonder if that's me. No, I don't know. I had to sell 20 of them. I think I only sold 5. I've been liquidating stocks, and I had a bunch of freaking capital rigs. No, I have capital ones, not large ones. So I don't know exactly what's going on here. I find it weird that we recovered so hard, so I kind of expect a double dip the way this is going, but that's one I missed pretty hard. Next, logistics cruisers. We saw big spikes in Basilisks and Oniroses last week. Oniroses are back down, but Guardians are tracking up slightly. I did kind of expect to see some more Scimitar action, but that might just be because I don't know what the current metas are. And then this is my other big indicator for Sov warfare, is you should expect a lot of bombers out. And though we're seeing a lot of action in interdiction, we're not seeing a lot of action in bombers. We saw manticores last week, but prices have stayed relatively stable. There's not a ton going on. This would be a decent place to speculate, especially things like the Hound right now is a pretty good speculation target. But like, if we really expect the weebs to defend their waifus, then we should expect to see bombers getting sold, and we're just not seeing it. And again, I just have to keep harping on this fact that for all of the bluster, for all of the memes, and all of the propaganda, like just fucking kill each other already, please. Stop talking about it and just do it. Last but not least, let's get into the violence report. Not a lot going on this week. Similar mix that we see week over week. Similar levels we see week over week. We haven't seen any big Mac whelps yet. This might change this weekend. Values staying relatively steady. When Macs die, a lot of them die is kind of the thing. So that's why I think this is a decent buy target this week. Next, action out in the field. We're seeing Nenemalia in the list, which is kind of embarrassing, again, given that Null is supposed to be going to big war, and they're getting outclassed by the Galente faction warfare guys. GE TAC 8 and VTAC 3 bringing up the back of the field, though, so not a lot to say here. And looking across the rest of the graph, we're seeing Providence now back in the Null mix, which is great to see. Catch is usually there. Black Rise leading the pack this week is actually pretty surprising. Again, that's the Nenemalia thing going on. Looks like Galente must not be having a good time if Nenemalia is under attack. So that's at least the thing. Again, faction warfare is just eating your lunch when it comes to activity compared to Null. Like, you guys should be in faction warfare if you want to kill each other. Anyway, so that will wrap up our show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. You can catch us every week Friday nights at 0300 Eve time. That is Thursday night U.S. time. You can also catch me on Saturday morning at 1500 or 1600, I don't remember which, on Talking in Stations. They will have CCP Quant on the air, and we'll be talking about economics and stuff. So that should be fun. If you want to follow the show, all you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That'll get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. And if you want to get in touch with me, if you want to talk market stuff, if you're interested in the stuff that we produce or want to know more, go click on the link below to join our Discord. That is the very best place to get in touch with me these days. The show might be coming to an end, but I intend to keep that open, and we'll keep running a community out of there. So if you want to support the show directly, the very best ways to do is to join our Patreon at patreon.com/EveProsper. I know that we are closing the show at episode 100, but donations from here on in are going towards our server future fund to make sure that we have cash in the system for keeping our APIs up and getting data out to people so that we can continue to be a service for Eve, even if we're not doing the news week over week. The Patreon will close at the end of June, though, so do get on that sooner rather than later. And though episode 100 will be our last on the air here, do get subscribed. There is always going to be more graph content. I intend to keep doing office hours for you guys. We can still talk trade and everything, and we will be refactoring the show if you enjoy the graphs into something new and shiny. So don't touch that unsubscribe button. Do get subscribed. With all of that, thank you everybody who tuned in live. We will be back next week, same time, same channel, for more Eve market news. I've been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show. Get subscribed. Do the things. See you guys in space. Terrible sign off. Okay. And I'm sorry, Sven. Did I hurt your guys' feelings talking shit about the anime war? Did I make too many anime body pillow jokes? All right, buttons. Eve cam. I just want them to stop talking about it and being like that. The Reddit today was just fucking embarrassing. Like, it's not even good propaganda. Usually the propaganda is really good. But this latest week, like, and like the thing that kills me. The thing that absolutely kills me is that they're talking all this talk. They're throwing so much shit at each other, and it's not showing in the market. Like, if you guys are going to kill each other, just fucking do it already. Like, actually get ready for war. Go line up the pieces and get blown up. But, like, right now it's just a forum war. It's just a meme war. And there are no points in the meme war. I guess you can get Reddit karma, and I guess that's more important than Z-kill board points. I don't fucking know. I'm just embarrassed. I expect more, and yeah. Oops. Let's see. Oh, and feel free to put questions in the chat. This is your guys' time now to shine and talk. I am here to answer your questions. You guys have market questions. I have market answers. Words. I mean, we're going to talk about the code I have to do for the Plex split. If I think it's simple moving average. Mr. Strats is asking in Twitch which type of moving average does Eve use in the game graphs. I think it's simple moving average, and I think it might be centered. Is kind of the weird thing though. Grash is asking, did CCP Quant say that they'll backfill the old Plex data? It was brought up and it was mentioned in the... so it was brought up at FanFest. It was mentioned in the economic stats that it was requested, but it was not said that they do it. So I'm prepared to just do it on our tools because like it doesn't take much to go back and fix and do the split on our databases and regress that data throughout history. And though it's kind of a pain in the ass for the predicting endpoint, because like the problem I have with the predicting endpoint is I basically have to say, okay, up to this date, I need you to pull from the backlog, which I have the backlog built. But from this date forward, I need you to pull from the server. And like, that's a great place for an off by one error. And it adds this extra complexity to do this on the left, do this, and on the right, do this. And it makes it hard to test. I just don't want to put that effort in, and I'm being a fucking bitch about it. So yeah. So we'll get to Angry Red Gummy Bear in just a second. Sven is asking, if the split didn't happen, what do you think the price of Plex would do over the summer? So I was expecting we'd be at 1.3, 1.35 going into Memorial Day, and then we might slide back down to 1.2 over the summer. Things get weird and floaty over the summer. Like just think, like if you want to write an Eve is dying article, you write it in September. Because the stats just get really thin and like it's the lowest point of the whole year, and you get like 3 good months of downward trends, so you can really get that sweet tinfoil money, those sweet panic clicks. But it's hard to say. I'm a little annoyed that going into the summer we're not seeing a big release. That I really feel kind of cheated by CCP. That usually, like they said 2 years ago or 3 years ago that they were going to do the 6-week cadence and just be content, and that was fine. That was cool. And then they come back last year and they say, no, the 6-week cadence wasn't really doing it for us. We're going to do 2 big releases and we're going to give them when they're ready. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, we're going to go back to the old way. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But this year, like I was really expecting that Moon stuff to come out at the end of May, start of June, as a big point release. And we're not seeing it. Like we're going to get one big release this year and a bunch of little stuff. And I mean, the little stuff isn't bad, but the thing that actually moves the markets, moves the content, generates the articles and the hype are the big point releases. And I really think CCP is missing a big opportunity here to go into the summer. And I'm really worried that without that primer to get people hooked into the summer, that we're going to have, like, things are going to get really bad in September. That we're going to get down in the really lowest lows, and things are going to look really scary ahead of Eve Vegas, and I don't like that idea. I'm not very happy about that. So so back to Angry Red Gummy Bear. Actually, no. One more thing. We're gonna go to Grash, and then we're gonna go to Angry Red Gummy Bear. Grash is saying, "Do what's easy and duplicate the data and divide it." So the problem is that when I designed the Prosper API for this module, I designed it to be databaseless, and that means that I'm reliant on endpoints to feed me the data. And I already talked with Eve Market Data, who gives us the predictions back to the 700 days. And they're basically going to turn on, they just update the, they just update their SDE, and so the old type ID won't be serviceable. And even if it was, I'd still have to do the split math live at request times. So, like, I'm prepared to do it. It just, like, because I made a bad decision before, I'm paying for that with some complexity now. So that's you win some, you lose some. Next, Angry Red Gummy Bear. Let's talk about the moving averages. There's a couple of big ones for technical analysts. First one is simple moving average, which is just, you just take a sliding window and you take the average of all the values in that sliding window. But the thing about those sliding windows is that you either take everything and you where the point you plot is whether it's left, right, or center. And so a simple moving average, just as it is, will plot out past the end of the graph because it's center aligned, and you have that hanging bit off the end. Left or right just means that you get to the front or end of that window. The next moving average you can grab is an exponential moving average, which I think, I'm not sure how it weighs that, but it tends for exponential curves rather than linear ones. The last one is a weighted moving average, which I have never used, but it puts more weight on the latest day and less weight going back. But yeah, the problem I have with a lot of those is that you then start getting into when lines cross, and you might as well be throwing chicken bones at that point. Yeah. Sven is asking, since he missed the start of the show, what are my predictions post-split? I expect the price per month to go down, drop 15%. Once we hit the thing, which means a price between 1.1 billion and 990 million. We might be able to hit 950, but I'd have to really miss my RM calculation on that to hit 950. I think that cash is so free and clear right now that there's enough pressure to buy up cheap Plex. So getting under the 2 million per unit Miniplex, I think, is going to be really difficult. I expect things to go up over the summer. Like, I don't expect the sub 1.1 or 1.2 billion per month price to stay beyond Memorial Day. But yeah, I think the prices are gonna go down pretty hard the first week and maybe into the second week. And if you guys are missing the show, I do encourage you to go watch Minor Metrics on YouTube, which is, I think, out 3 times a week now. And Rodin on Event TV is doing a weekly prediction show. And there has always been and will always be the Lone Wolf over at Eve Talk. So, like, I am not the only gig in town. I understand why you guys don't want me to leave, and I will miss doing this specifically, but it's time for space retirement, guys. More questions. We've got at least another 15 minutes. Bamboo maintenance. Okay. As for what we'll be doing in the future, I really am trying to put together more Python blogging and streaming. I really do enjoy writing the technical blogs. And I've really been enjoying getting towards more open source projects. The interesting one I just got read in on this week. So there's a big collection of projects called Data for Democracy. That is run by the guys who do, what's the name of the show? Partially Derivative, and which I love their show. It's another great programmer show. And they're doing a bunch of like open data, public data kind of projects between like making sure that police data is easy to search and host and parse to they partnered with a anti-gerrymandering site that's trying to get more fair districts drawn up. There's a bunch of really cool stuff going on there, and there's a couple of cool natural language processing projects that I'm hoping I can, though I don't get how to do natural language processing per se, I know how to package things. So I might be able to help some poor PhD student take their research project to something actually app-worthy, which would be kind of fun to do. Echo Versky is asking, what sink faucet balancing do you think will happen over the next year? So I still think there is too much cash coming into the system. I've been complaining about this for almost 6 months, mostly because though it was balanced in the right after Ascension with all the free-to-play guys, we're getting to that part where the heat in the market is dying down faster than the cash streams are constricting. So I'm personally hoping that some checks and balances come to the what's the word I'm looking for? Come to the ratting sphere, because there's so many supers and so many capitals getting away with murder for just printing ISK like fucking nutso. And I'm hoping that it gets addressed somehow. CCP's drive continues to be to fix it mechanically with new mechanics rather than adjust the rates themselves. But like the only big release we're seeing is the new Blood Raider compounds, and like that's a drop in the bucket because it's going to be in one system or one constellation. It's going to move, and it's going to no big, like, it's going to be very centralized. It's going to be more like a heavy incursion a heavy specialist incursion more than a real drag on ratting incomes. And though the new AIs, for instance, with the mining fleets, is another place where we should expect to see a little bit more defense coming from, a little bit more dynamism coming from the system. Like, there's just no we're talking, one thing here and a dozen things there, when we really need something systematically like nerfing Delve, to be completely honest. And like, there's just so many supers out there and nobody's fighting enough to actually kill them. Like, if it's CCP Lockefox, one of the things, I would probably go and review Super EHP, and I'd try to take 25% out of it, especially if we can keep the prices down where they've been post Rourke nerf, post Rourke boost. I think that losing 25% of your EHP and having the price of your super hull is a perfectly acceptable trade, in my opinion. So that you actually see these things out and getting killed, because I think they should be out in fleets. They should be part of your escalation chain. They should be killed. And we're just not seeing them get killed. We're not seeing them get dumpstered like they need to get dumpstered. So I think that it's the ISK printing is too high. You might want to look at, what are they? The ESIs, the special ratting token thingy might be, or ESS might be worth nerfing. The actual ratting rates might be worth nerfing. I don't think the loot is going to be worth nerfing, and I think that things are okay in wormhole incomes per se, because the blue loot numbers look to be okay after the nerf they got last year. But yeah, nullsec ratting needs a big kick in the nuts. Because the problem isn't so much the rats, right? Like the rats and the anomalies themselves aren't really the problem. The proliferation of expensive equipment that makes the cash generation trivial is the real problem. So I think there's a spot for moon mining to take some heat out of that. But again, I expected moon mining to come in June. And without it coming in June, there is a fuckload of cash that is just going to get generated and stored and stocked. And I think it's going to do some real damage coming into the fall, into Eve Vegas. And I don't think the outside of null guys are really ready for 2 billion ISK a month Plex prices. And like, if we don't start seeing some more action taken, we're going to see, like, I liked the way that they nerfed the Rourke, but like, the one thing I wouldn't have done is change the actual meters cubed yielded. I would have kept the rate of ore coming out of those things as high as it was, but I like the fact that you get kill mails for their drones now. I like the fact that you can't do the battle Rourke stuff that they fixed. I just don't. I think that we saw a big hit in the cash flow reserve thanks to the high mineral output. But yeah, I mean, people keep talking about privatizing insurance, and I don't know if I love that idea. like, I get where it's coming from running your own SRPs and maybe making it more dynamically funded so you can do better groupings. But, like, I don't know. I don't love the mechanic. I'm not really sold. And then Quant was talking about in the Mur this month that a bunch of people were talking to him about making collateralized debt, so we could do collateral debt swaps and make financial products. And I mean, I've been a fan of credit systems for a long time, but I'm kind of in that case of like, and I invite Rodin to tell me how wrong I am. That if you have the collateral, you don't really need the loan in Eve. Like, assets and cash are so cheap that, like, if I just had to go sell my favorite ship, or if I just had to go sell, like, if I just had to go run a bond, like, I could get my 10 billion-esque or 50 billion-esque that I needed for whatever. And the problem with a credit system continues to be, how do you enforce it? How do you securitize it? And I think there are some opportunities there, but like, I'm not super impressed with what Quant showed off. The thing I was always hoping for is to be able to use skill points as collateral. But that requires the ability to re-inject at a lower penalty rate. And like, you'd either have to make like a special collateralized injector that's marked for who it goes back into. And then how is that not just paying for remapping skill points? Like, there's a whole world of like getting unintended consequences and not actually getting the product that you wanted to get. So I don't know. Stefan Turnick is asking, next to Jita, what's the best market hub? It's either Amar or Dodixie. They've been changing places lately. Dodixie tends to have better cross margins, and Amar has higher volumes, but they end up trading about the same lately. More questions. We got like 5 minutes left before I gotta drop the show. And Ekoversky, if you're interested in more information, I might have links for the gerrymandering project. They had a call to action this week from people who can convert MATLAB code. I haven't looked at MATLAB code, and a lot of the map applications make me a little uneasy because I really like the data gets really weird. But they were definitely looking for people. And again, links should be at data number 4 democracy if you want to go follow up on that. Van Fennel 071, Plex prices I think will be up this week and down next, aiming for a 15% drop from whatever the pre-split price is, which means somewhere between 990 and 1.1. Mexilon, the robot keeps saying 100 by May 10th, and I don't know if I believe it. It's been really right up to now, and it keeps saying May 10th, but I have my doubts. So The 30-day performance of the bot in core markets like minerals and isotopes has been impressive as fuck. But there's a few of the predictions at the past the 30-day mark that really start to make me think, this is more a carnival show than a real thing. So I know it's my own tool. I should hype it up more and be like, no, just trade only on my tool. I'm amazing. I'm the smartest. I am the greatest. But like the thing that gets me, and I can't. So this will probably be my closing thought. So I've been trying to get my my industrial friends onto the profit endpoint. And I keep trying to tell them, like, hey, buddy, if you use this and you use it for your 30-day outlook and you tune your stockpiling to it, that you think, oh, well, I won't buy this week. I'm going to wait till next week for this. Or I'm going to stock up on this because the price is going to go up next week. And you use that as your sort of source for what you were going to stockpile. I think you could easily add 5% to your margins. Easy peasy. Just by checking that endpoint and having like a 4-week outlook on it. And saying, well, I'm going to go build, so many units, or I know I need so many units this a month. I'm going to time my buys accordingly, and I might overbuy a little bit here and there, and then play the speculative trade, or use the cheap prices to pad out a stockpile. And second, if you were really ambitious, you might be able to take that and also point it towards your final product calculations and say, well, we're building, we could build ballistic control unit 2s or something. And I mean, they're down this week, and the prices, let's say it predicts the price, the cost of materials is going to be flat, but the final product is going to go up next week. This would help you tune and filter your final product mix a little bit better. And all of this without having to do a whole bunch of extra work. You just need to like pick out the maximums and minimums in a 4-week or 3-week outlook, and basically just better tune what your best price is, and add 2 more columns onto your spreadsheet, one that says predicted price and predicted buy date, and go to town. Now, don't put this in a spreadsheet because Google Drive will fucking break me. I'm not giving you API keys to go put in a spreadsheet, but the idea stays the same, that if you use this endpoint with your supply chain, you could stand to make an extra 5 or 8% on just timing your stockpiles better. So that's my pitch on that. I can't seem to get anybody to think the same as me on this one. I was trying to sell it to my old buddies in trade. I think that as a speculator, it's a really powerful tool, especially if you are already doing an arbitrage strategy, where if you used it to pick out 10 items a week, I think that you would be you'd at least make money on 8 of them, and anything you'd lose money on, I think, would be minimal, especially if you're playing buy orders. So, I think this is a really great gut check, and beyond that, I think it would be a great seed for somebody who wanted to run a mutual fund, where you're in and you're out and you're cycling these things according to the robot. I don't have time to do it because I've got other mountains to climb, but I've done all the hard work for you already. and you could go be making mad space money off of a magical trading bot. But I just can't seem to... I tried to sell technical analysis to people, and nobody really does it. I tried to sell this bot to people, and nobody really does it. I've tried to sell my Tech 2 building strategies, and those at least got some traction, but that's because everybody was doing similar things. Like, I feel a little bit like I'm taking crazy pills with, like, oh, I really love the show, but, like, I never trade on your advice. I'm like, then why do you tune in? I can't be that entertaining. I don't know, guys. I think it's powerful. I wouldn't have released it if I didn't think there was promise. I really love Adam for Eve's layout. Like, if I were more actively trading, I would be there. I'd be there checking my gut, because I really like what they do with, like, the buy and sell depth analysis. I think that's a really cool little piece of kit. And with this trading bot, like, really starts to look interesting in a wider context. Now, the problem still is that generating a lot of predictions is expensive, and I'm not giving you an API key to go generate 8,000 requests a day, because the machine will try to take off into the stratosphere, and then my sysadmin's wife will kill my sysadmin, and I'll be out of sysadmin. But, like, core basket stuff, there's a good 200 items in a core basket between minerals and popular ships and moon goo. Like, you could build out a pretty decent thing of stuff that trades more than 10 billion ISK a day, net trade. And I think that number is under 500. It might be under 1K. And use it there. And I think that you'd be incredibly surprised at the returns on it. The stuff that the back propagation stuff that Adam for Eve has been doing for us has been blowing my mind. I put it out there as a carny trick of, like, look, you know what? Linear regression is for squares. We've got machine learning here. Like, hey, gaming blogs, go, like, hey, what is it? 10-ton hammer or giant bomb. Call me. I put a machine learning bot into trading Eve stuff. Isn't that cool? But the actual returns on it are really compelling. Anyway, I think that's going to have to be the end of the show. Thank you, everybody who tuned in live and stuck to the end with all of my ranting and raving and babbling. Again, if you want to keep talking, if you want to keep chatting, do join our Discord. Links are down in the doobly-doo below. I'm there all the time. You can PM me there. Feel free to ask questions. Get subscribed. We should, again, keep going until episode 100. Do get subscribed on Twitter if you want to see magic graphs that before everybody else. We are still active on the Tweet Fleet Slack and continue to plan to be, excuse me. But I have to sign off for the night, so thank you, everyone, for being on the show, and we will be back next week with more market news.